Welcome to Pink Kink,
where we are ready to guide you through the wild and wonderful world of kink.
I'm Princess Rara.
And I'm Dara, the Electro Khaleesi.
Whether you are a baby kinkster, a seasoned pro, or just here for the entertainment, Pink Kink will help you level up your kink knowledge.
Join us as we share our own wild, sometimes awkward, but always entertaining experiences and spill the tea from our combined 30 plus years in the private and professional kink worlds.
So grab your favorite flogger or wand.
Thank you.
And buckle up. You'll learn, you'll laugh, and who knows, you might just spit out your coffee.
Let's get this kinky party started.
Want more Pink Kink in your life? Join our Patreon and get ready for a whole lot of kinky fun and exclusive perks.
As a patron, you'll unlock access to our private Discord server where you can connect with fellow kinksters and chat directly with us. You'll also score adorable Pink Kink stickers and enjoy a monthly behind-the-scenes podcast packed with juicy tidbits we don't share anywhere else. Plus, get sweet discounts at our Etsy shop, Pink Kink Boutique, and on our online classes at Pink Kink Institute.
But wait, there's more.
More?
Our impactful and electrifying Pink Kinksters get extras, such as bonus content and free digital downloads. Oh, and let's not forget, the Pink Standard of patrons will be recognized as producers on both the podcast and on our website, because we couldn't do this without you.
Pink Kink runs on the love and support of our amazing patrons, so join the party today. Visit us at patreon.com/pinkkinkpodcast or click on the link on pinkkinkpodcast.com.
Today's episode is produced by our electrifying Pink Kinksters. Thank you, Jay, Witcherman, Brianna Lynn, Daddy J, Fabe, William P., Claire, Lady Blooding, Naughty and Nice, Butte Pain, Manda Panda, Kat, Stefan, Shadow Phoenix, Christopher, Brian, Enchanted Sparrow, The Wombat, Impact Hazard, Twitch, The Midnight Girl, Sinful, J21, Daisy If You Do, AK Harley Chick, Serenity, Belle, Eric, Lady Affliction, Pumpkin Pie, Ms. Tourmaline, S'more, Hacksaw,
Wee Mad Beastie, Devoted Night, 3 a.m. Thoughts, Crash Override, Kinky Bear, Sviper No Swiping, Barbie, Navigator Bard, Frost, Coffee and Chaos, Mr. Pillsbury, Peaches, Mighty Owl, Baby Squirrel, Lady and Lex, Chaos Monster, Jessa Lady, Ophelia, Drew, Birchbeard, Lady to Kitten, Cydia Lemon, Noir, Freddie Queen, Princess Ree, Miss Isiv, Godex Bunny, Elysium Rose, Avalia, Gloria, Nora Morapora, and Brix. Rara, I have a problem.
We've got so many problems.
But, okay, this one's about, like, a problem.
Okay.
It's my episode to lead.
Yes.
You know, research and all that, and do the most talking.
Yep.
And I have the energy of a newborn baby.
I did it in between talking so that wouldn't affect anything. I intentionally did that.
You did that just to make me go,
Well, I want to see if you could imitate the sound that this made.
God, I hate you. You trying to wake me up? Is that what this is?
No, I'm trying to find a position where the pain level is only a 4 instead of a 7.
Okay, well then stop moving it while you're talking. Also, your mic is like close enough. But yeah, no, I'm like totally dragging, and I have been for a while, and I know why.
You can't even blame it on the dungeon.
I can't. This is my life now, and it's 100% everything to do with my job. But whatever.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's
as soon as we're done recording, I'm going home, and I'm face planting, and I'm not even cooking dinner tonight, so whoopee-doo.
Nope. It's my usual Sunday shenanigans, cooking, laundry. Well, almost usual, because there's no football. We're out of football season, and that is sad.
I am so sorry.
Yeah. We had a little bit of fun there with the draft, but now we have to wait again till training camp starts.
I did a sports thing yesterday.
You did do a sports thing yesterday.
Technically.
It was.
Technically, yes. It's a sport, and I did it,
so
I did a sports thing.
That is a sports thing.
I went to a Kentucky Derby party.
You derbied.
I did derby.
It's actual, that's the verb. You derbied.
I derbied it. And
with a hat and everything.
I did. I wore a dress. It wasn't a high fashion dress, but I looked like a conservative. So.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It was a cute dress,
wait a
though.
minute. Now you have a Halloween costume.
No, alphabet, remember?
Oh, yes.
Tying in with our birthday. But yeah, it was a very, very pretty dress, and my hat matched it perfectly. And it was about 2 hours of what my darling husband, Daddy J, called tailgating.
It's a version of tailgating.
And then 30 seconds of actual sport.
So I actually read something this morning on social media about the Derby that will mean something to those of a certain age or older.
Oh boy.
And will
I
mean
wonder where
nothing
I'm
to
at.
the youngers. So that's why I'm going to say it, and I'm going to see if this means anything to you. Every horse that was in the race was a descendant of Secretariat.
Oh, really?
Okay, so that does mean something to you. Yes.
Every one of them?
Every single one of them.
Oh, that's wild. Huh. Okay, yeah. No, I didn't know that. That's
apparently Secretariat
cool.
was responsible for about 660 births, and then those gave birth to others.
When was Secretariat?
Secretariat would have been maybe 70s, I think, maybe 80s. I'd have to look it up.
I only know about it because the movie.
Right.
I didn't live that, so
I
media'd it.
I remember I believe, if I remember correctly, the Derby was the last of the 3 Triple Crown races, and I remember wanting Secretariat to win.
So last night, I can't remember. God, who was the favorite? Journalism was the favorite to win. And unfortunately, journalism came in second.
Oh. All right, Secretariat was born in 1970.
Okay. Yeah. That was...
Even they were taller than me, 5'6".
Hell of a horse.
Yeah. Triple Crown Trophy, the only one who's ever won all 3. And they, their descendants are now racing.
That's hilarious. Well, one thing that we noticed, because there was a bunch of people there that had never seen a Derby before, or a horse race, I guess. And we were commenting on there's a horse walking a horse, and you could always tell which one was the actual racehorse because they were prancing to get in there, because they were like the most high-strung, high-energy horses.
Yeah, they're like, I don't want to walk, I want to run.
I want to dance, I want to party. But they were like dancing down this track on the parade when they were coming in, and somebody was like, why is there always a horse next to the racehorse? And I'm like, it's their therapy horse.
I like that.
It's their emotional support horse.
I've never been to an in-person horse race, but I have been to greyhound racing.
Oh, I've been to horse racing a few times. Yeah, mostly when I was a kid. My dad has a PhD, and his major professor that he worked with most of the stuff on, his wife and him owned a thoroughbred racehorse breeding program and farm, and they would race their horses. So every year we would go out there for some party thing, and I would go visit the horses. And apparently one year when I was a really little baby, the first thing I did was I stuck my whole fist up a horse's nose.
Better than their ass.
Yep. But apparently my fist was like the size of a booger because I was that small on a horse, and it just sneezed me back out. I think there's a video of it. But I remember going to a couple of horse races as a kid and watching these horses. So kind of grew up doing this. But anyway, I did the fashion thing, and I entered a hat contest, and I won said hat contest.
Woo!
My mother had actually texted me to invite me to this thing and said, would you like to come and win a hat contest next week? And I was like, sure.
She was right. She sees the future.
My mom,
your mother is seer?
Yes. She sees everything. It's kind of creepy. She came in second, actually. My mom made her own little hat thing, and she's not the craftiest of people, but she always made costumes when we were kids. And her hat came in second, and I gave her my prize because I wasn't going to use it. So I was like, here.
Well, on a totally unrelated subject, you guys know that we record in advance, and we normally don't tell you when we're recording. We just kind of say like, yeah, it's Sunday after.
Yeah, this one's
Dungeon
pretty
night.
obvious.
But this,
why is today a special day?
May the 4th be with you.
And also with you.
Thank you.
Look, I'm wearing the shirt.
You got Yoda.
I am wearing a Star Wars shirt in honor of today. And then tomorrow is Cinco de Mayo. And the day after that is the Revenge of the Sixth.
Oh, yeah. If you've done Cinco de Mayo properly, you will definitely have some Revenge of the Sixth.
I've already taken it off. I've taken that day off work and the 7th.
But for all of our Star Wars Kinksters, and I'm sure there are a lot of you, it's a very common grouping. Happy Star Wars Day.
Happy Star Wars Day, everybody. Even though this is going to come out in a month.
We were thinking of you.
Yes. It's what's that old saying? The Venn diagram between kinksters and nerds is a circle.
Yeah.
With a little rah-rah sitting outside the circle.
That's it, guys. Though, but I do know my Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because as usual, anything nerdy that I've gotten into for a guy.
Yeah. Well, listen, I've always been more of a Trekkie than a Star Wars fan, but even I'm gonna.
Well, I also got into Star Trek because of a guy.
Oh, I got into Star Trek because of my mother. My mom grew up with the original Star Trek, so of course when TNG came out in 89, she was completely like, "Oh my god, I want to watch it," and we watched that shit every time.
TNG is the one that I got into.
Yeah. Oh, it was that's the one I grew up on.
This is an important question then. Who is the best Star Trek captain?
Picard.
Thank you. Oh my god, you got that.
There's no question. I didn't even hesitate. Are you kidding? There is no question. Picard was the best captain.
And I needed Data in my life.
Mm-hmm. Because he's trained in multiple techniques.
Yes. And never tires. And asks nothing in return. Yeah.
Oh, he's the great. Brent Spiner is actually the most incredible actor. You know who I want to see? Like, just versatility wise, I want a movie with Brent Spiner and Jaleel White.
Oh, that'd be an interesting one. In their characters, Data and Urkel?
No. In showcasing how versatile they are. It would almost be like, you remember Face Off? Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, and they switched characters.
Don't send me hate. I don't like Nicolas Cage, and I don't watch Nicolas Cage movies.
They're not that good. I will give you that. Mostly, they're not that good. National Treasure, fantastic. Face Off, actually really good. But this man has a knack for picking really shitty roles. However, that one was really, really cool because they started off as their characters. And then they trade faces, and the actors had to become the other character. It was really cool. It was a really cool concept.
Yeah, I love those.
So that's actually one of my favorite John Travolta movies. And, well, that and Phenomenon, that was a really fucking good movie. I like the old ones. Post Grease, but before he turned 40. Those were really good. But anyway, yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. So that actually woke me up. Thank you. That was perfect.
Yay!
I needed that.
My job here is done. I can now sit back and I can go to sleep while you take over.
Okay, and then next episode, I'm going to be crashed out on the floor, so don't expect anything of me.
Oh, no. I have stories that I'm saving that will make you wake up.
Okay. All right, here we go.
This is my tease to make sure you listen next week, because I'm betting money I'm going to get Dara to rant.
I don't know if I appreciate that, but we shall see.
Little tease.
Great. Today, we are talking about let Rara pick this one because I have, a list of 11 or 12 of these little episodes that I've come up with. And I showed Rara the list. I was like, I don't know which one I want to go with next. And she goes, oh my God, this one. So this is Rara's pick.
It's my theme. After empowerment, this word is my next favorite E word.
Okay, so maybe next year this is going to be your word of the year?
Maybe.
Because I think you've had empowerment for 2 years.
A year and a half, so maybe I'll switch midway and then just do like a year and a half. So maybe this summer.
Okay.
I'll switch.
Okay, you could do that. That's accepted brew.
I actually have stuff already based upon that word. So
well, here we go. This is ethical caregiving. And again, we picked this because this is all about what we do. And I'm sure Rara's got stories about just the word ethical. I'm pretty sure you've got stories within the last week of kerfuffling around the word ethical.
As I said, it's my second favorite E word now after empowerment.
Do you have well, I thought it didn't matter if it was E. It was just words at this point.
Well, but I'm specifically saying like it's a favorite E word.
Okay. All right, we're going to talk about, once again, we got to kind of get into what is CGL within the context of BDSM and kink, because what if this is your first time listening? Welcome. I'm so glad you picked this episode.
And yes, we're always like this. Just saying.
Dead tired and pretending to be awake?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And sometimes it's funnier than other times when we get completely slap happy. Right now, we're just kind of in that phase where we're going,
well, nobody slapped me, so I'm not happy.
Would you like me to reach across and slap you?
God, tempting.
Would that be okay?
Yes.
I'm going to slap myself at this point just to wake up. What CGL is caregiver little. And that means usually it's a person who kind of acts younger than they are, and a person who takes care of the younger acting person. It doesn't have to be that way, and we have other episodes that go deeper into that. That's just standard. Now, the term used to be DDLG, and that we don't do that anymore.
In a land far, far away.
Hmm?
In a land far, far away, it was referred to as DDLG.
Oh, but before COVID times?
No, I'm just talking about, I'm trying to bring in Star Wars because it's May the 4th be with you. All right, I'll sit down. Shut up.
I don't think that worked.
Sorry, I tried. Not everyone is a home run.
Nope.
Sometimes I foul out.
I was so confused by that. Now it's funny.
See, this is when you can now sports ball by saying strike.
Oh, got okay, got it.
Ready?
Strike.
Okay.
Did
3
you
strikes
right?
and I'm out, so I better be careful.
Oh shit! What am I gonna do if you're out? Oh no, that's not gonna be great. Let's not do that anymore. So anyway, that's the basics of what little and caregiver is. God,
Not sorry.
I know you're not. You're terrible people.
Thank you very much. I'm here daily.
Yeah, I'm not.
We're in my house. I'm here daily.
Yep. No, that one I got.
Okay.
That one hit. It's not a home run.
Did I make it to first?
But you kind of walked that ball. It might have been a fly, and then you just kind of like, maybe you got hit with the ball, and then you walked it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
See, look, I'm sports balling. I know
I'm
this
so
one.
proud of you.
This I can do. I can do baseball.
Baseball been very, very good to me. That's Saturday Night Live.
I need you to stop.
I don't know if I can.
That one, I got hit with the ball.
I'll try.
Just drink your whatever that fuck that is.
The problem is my son told me I was going through coffee too fast, so instead of 16 ounces of coffee, I only did 12 ounces. I'm suffering, I tell you, suffering.
Okay, so I'm really sorry about this, but the only thing I could think of right there was suffering fuckatash.
Yes.
Why are we like this?
So many reasons.
Why? I'm just gonna read stuff off of my list and like see if we can get through this because I've got 9 pages.
Oh, I don't know whether I'm impressed or scared.
I'm horrified. I don't know how.
I did notes for another episode. I only had 5 pages. I went, Dar's going to be so proud of me. Ow! And we're off.
Oh, that's what they said yesterday.
Yes.
At the Derby.
I know. I'm trying to keep everything contained into this whole Derby, Star Wars,
baseball,
Star Trek adjacent, sports ball, kink circle.
But
it's not easy.
Okay. I apologize for Rara today. I am
not the first time she's done that. Won't be the last.
I'm going to have to put a note in the Discord that says I apologize for this episode because oh my god.
Because Rara. That's all you
because Rara.
That's all you have to say.
So as soon as you know what, why don't you get your phone right now and that will be our no context for today. I apologize for Rara. And it's Rara posting it.
All right.
And while you do that, I'm going to actually start the episode because it's been 20 minutes and we haven't done shit.
We introduced it. I think that's pretty good.
I said, this is a Littles episode. Here's what it is. And that's it. All right. So ethics. I can't even right now. All right. CGL dynamics are, we just got to go through this again. It's more than just role play. It is a lifestyle. It is emotionally rich. It's deeply personal. it is considered a power exchange. It is within that umbrella. And it's a relationship that can bring profound comfort and connection by the people who are in it. Every relationship is different, so every relationship is going to have a different kind of dynamic, and that's totally cool. Now, one word that I absolutely fucking hate when used in this, and I've seen it used more recently, is age regression. I can't stand that term. That's not correct. Age regression refers to people who are in a trauma response to something from their childhood, and they're age regressing as a coping mechanism. It's a therapy term. It's a psychological term. That's not what being a little is. Being a little can be a response to a trauma, but it's not that all the time. Not every little is a response to trauma and something shit happening when you're a kid. It's just not how it is. Not to mention the fact that there are middles and there's different age ranges. There's people who age play as elders. Age play is not necessarily just being a baby.
I want to meet somebody. If there's somebody who's the listener who age plays at an older age, can you let us know? Because I'm really curious.
I've never done an episode on that.
I have questions.
I think I should add that to my list and make it like a lucky 13.
Oh, okay.
Elder age
if you
play.
Can find people who do it.
Well,
yes.
I don't know if I can, but I can sure as fuck research that.
Okay.
But if we find somebody, that'd be even better.
Mm-hmm.
There are rituals of care. There are structured routines. A lot of it mimics the whole parent-child type thing. However, unlike actual children's relationships, all participants are consenting adults. Let me repeat that. All participants in an age play scenario relationship are consenting adults.
Emphasis on adult.
If you fucking come at me and tell me that it's pedophilia, I'm going to jump through this episode and time warp and do something and just transmute and rip your fucking face off.
Are we going to do the time warp yet?
Let's do the time warp again.
Did I ever tell you for years I thought it was the time warp brigade?
Really?
Yeah.
That's like thinking Tiny Dancer is Tony Danza.
That was the time warp brigade because they were a brigade of dancers doing the time warp.
No, that's not how that works.
I know, but yes.
Okay, moving on. Brigade. Lots of people are drawn to CGL for like lots of different reasons. Oh, you know what my brain is.
Time.
It's wine o'clock. They can be for emotional healing. It can be just the fact of having the structure. Some of us like the nurturing aspect of it, which is where I'm at. The playful self-expression, also me. For some littles, it offers a safe place to be vulnerable. And for caregivers, it can provide this really deep sense of purpose and emotional fulfillment just taking care of somebody else. That's why Rara does things. She likes the nurturing part.
I'm a nurturer.
What is this look on your face right now? You're confusing me.
Look, somebody who's hurting, wants more coffee and more sleep.
Yes, that is what that face says.
Who couldn't take her Tylenol PM this morning because I would have to be awake during recording. So,
oh dear.
We'll save it for later.
Well, so the different roles that you can have your standard daddies and mommies. You can have babysitters. You can have aunties. You can call them big. You can call them CG. You can have middles, littles, ABDLs. And because of this emotional intensity that you get from these relationships, CGL really demands a heightened level of ethical awareness. The dynamics walk a really delicate line between nurturing care and potential emotional dependency.
Emotional damage.
Good job.
Thank you.
Requiring vigilance and boundaries and mutual well-being. So we're going to get into all of those. You got any comments?
Yeah, I do actually.
Okay, go.
I'm allowed now. Thank you.
Yes.
One of the reasons that I picked this one for the top of the list and really wanted to talk about is because I don't think people really understand when you are putting yourself into an age play dynamic, especially if you identify, let's say, as a little, and you're going into that little headspace, you are putting yourself in a very vulnerable position. I mean, in DS dynamics, in BDSM, you are already vulnerable. Mm-hmm. But for me, my opinion, I know, don't hate me. I can't help it. I have a lot of them. Age play makes you a little extra vulnerable.
Well,
and
it's the fact that you're going into a different age that represents and mimics a vulnerable person. then yes.
Yeah, but for instance, right, like you talk a lot about the hurt and pain you felt when your ex made very negative comments about you identifying as a little.
He said it was disgusting.
Right? And so it is really, to me, so important that caregivers are ethical, because there are a lot that aren't, and it can be quite damaging.
Let me get one thing straight here. He was not my caregiver.
Oh, I know.
Not
See,
in a million fucking
now
years.
you're reminding me of my of there's a guy on TikTok who does 2 things straight, 1 thing queer.
1 thing gay.
Either one, but yeah, I love him.
He's funny. But that he was not a caregiver in any way, shape, or form. At that point, I was a little without a caregiver, which was why doing that episode last time was super important to me. I have experienced that. It's hard. It's hard. But yeah, it's really important. And then that's also one of the reasons why that was the biggest reason right there when he said in therapy, it's disgusting. I was like, well, we're done. Because being little and being able to express that is such a big part of my life. And at that point, it had become such a big part of my life. I wasn't letting it go. And him saying that part of me, of my personality, was disgusting. I was like, there's no coming back from this. We're in marriage counseling. I just looked at the therapist. I was like, nope, I'm done. Fuck it. I'm out. So no. And at that point, I went daddy hunting.
To me, it is being an ethical caregiver is crucial. It's one of the reasons I'm making ethical, my other word for the year.
Mm-hmm. As anything in kink, consent is the cornerstone, the bedrock in any kink relationship. But in this particular one, in CGL, it is amplified. It's so much more because you have this other person who's so unbelievably vulnerable, like Rara said. You need explicit agreements. So like before entering CGL dynamics, both parties should have detailed discussions about what caregiving actually means to them. You don't want to be in a relationship where caregiving means something for the little that it doesn't mean for the caregiver. So regular negotiation, you have to have consent as needs evolve because there are going to be evolving needs if you're together for a long time. So you have to continuously redo this. Both parties also need to understand the potential emotional intensity of this and have it structured in their caregiving. Consent must be ongoing and it is revocable at any time. Let's just get that out there. Okay, let's talk about a non-ethical practice. Ignoring limits and forcing care tasks without consent. So ignoring agreed upon boundaries because it's what a good caregiver does and they'll thank me later. That's not good caregiving. That's a violation of trust right there. It disrespects the little's autonomy, and littles do have autonomy. They are, quote, dependent on their caregiver, but we're full grown ass adults. We can handle being an adult. We don't need to have this codependency going on that a lot of people think it is. And if you disrespect the autonomy, it causes emotional harm, even if the caregiver believes that they're acting out of love. So an example would be the little has a hard limit against being bottle fed. The caregiver thinks it's cute and surprises them by insisting they drink from a bottle during playtime. And this is brushing off their discomfort. This is not good. This is like, I will drink, and most of the littles that I have at my parties, we like sippy cups. None of us at my parties go for bottles. So I'm just trying to picture a caregiver coming with a bunch of bottles and trying to give it to us and be like, look, I'm going to give you your baba. And we're all going to be looking at him instant out of little space and just go, excuse you? My what? Nah. All right, so another example would be, say, during negotiation, the little said they never want enforced nap times. I, as a big-time nap lover, would never accept an enforced nap time. I do that to my dogs, to puppies. I'm not going to accept that. I know when I'm tired, I'll go to bed when I fucking want to. And then the caregiver imposes naps as a punishment, saying, you need it, I know better. I'm going to be like instant out of little space and we're like, shut the fuck up. No,
See, and to me, I don't view the forced nap as a punishment. I view it as, like I used to do with my own children. You're cranky. You're not making good choices. You obviously need some rest. Let's go. We're taking a nap. And hopefully when you wake up, you'll be in a better headspace.
There's a difference between that and you're disobeying, you're disrespecting, go to your room, go take a nap. Go fucking take a nap. There's a huge difference between those two. The attitude is insanely different. So if you think your little is, see, here's the thing. You can easily negotiate that with the little. You can say, all right, so I've noticed that you tend to get very, very cranky when you're tired and you don't make good decisions. We've discussed this before, with this whole not good decision-making process. Would it be beneficial to you to take a nap when you get this tired? And the little could think about it and they could be like, okay, yeah, you know what? That actually might work. So then that's a negotiation. That's a consent given. And then the next time the little is like, I'm, just flying off the handle, just cranky as shit, the caregiver can say, hey, I've noticed that you're getting a little cranky. Are you tired? Do you need to take a nap? And the little can be like, yeah, you know what? I could use a nap. Okay, let's go take a nap. And then you can have a nap ritual. You can have tuck-ins. You can have specific music. You can have so my bedtime ritual is always the same. I get in bed and I cover myself up and I go, Daddy. And Daddy comes in and he turns on the toasty feeties and we turn on the what do you call it? The white noise machine. He turns on the fans. Sometimes he plugs in my phone because I forget. And then he comes over and he does the tuck, 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 tuck. And then he gives all of his girls a kiss because there's 3 of us in this bed. Robert's looking at me
I know who the other 2 women are, so.
Well, they're not exactly women. They are bitches, though. And he gives all of his girls a kiss. This is the routine. And sometimes we even do this when I'm taking a nap. Like my Saturday afternoon nap or Sunday afternoon nap. In this case, when I come back from Rah-Rahs, I'm going to crush out with these dogs.
I don't know how you do that. When I take a nap, it messes me up at night.
Nope. Not me. Melatonin regardless at night anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'll crash. I'll
have
just
trouble
go to bed.
sleeping at night, let alone if I've had a nap during the day.
No, I'm just that tired.
Oh, it's not. I didn't say I wasn't that tired. It just messes me up.
I've never had that problem. Anyway, so there's the 2 different ways of doing that. Is one way has negotiated, consented, respected. And the other way is just being a dick about it. All right. So another one is using care as manipulation. When care is given as a means to control or manipulate the little into compliance, or maybe to fulfill the caregiver's emotional needs, rather than out of genuine affection or support. This is not ethical. Example is when the caregiver withholds affection or comfort unless the little behaves a certain way, like you can't have a snack until you do this for me. You can't have a kiss until you do this for me. That's horrible. And it's extraordinarily non-ethical. It's along the same lines of giving your partner the silent treatment. And we've all already discussed that that is not ethical at all. You don't give your person the silent treatment as punishment. You talk it out. The providing care part is offering care and attention without any strings attached, expecting nothing in return other than mutual respect and enjoyment of the dynamic. An example there would be the caregiver offers emotional support like comforting hug or words of encouragement just because the little seems to need it, not because they have been obedient or performed a task well. Now, you can give hugs, kisses, and treats because they performed a task well. In fact, we recommend it. But withholding that is where the non-ethical part comes in. Anything to say about that one?
No, I'm just currently sending somebody a message saying, don't do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to hear that conversation, but sure. All right. Enforcing dependency and encouraging versus encouraging independence. So enforcing dependency is probably, let's face it, on the non-ethical part of this. It involves pushing the little into a state where they become emotionally dependent on the caregiver in really unhealthy ways. And often this is at the expense of the little's own sense of self or independence, which is not something we want to take away because, again, they're a full grown-ass adult. So, for example, the caregiver tells the little, You can't do anything without me. You're not capable of making any of these decisions by yourself, even though the little has proven that they can manage these aspects of their life independently. So, like, I tell Daddy J to pick my underwear because that's a routine that we have. It's a thing. It's a way for me to make one less decision during the day. However, sometimes we forget. Okay, let me rephrase. A lot of times we forget. And I'm fully capable of picking out my own fucking underwear. It's fine. I reach in a drawer, I pull out some underwear. Or if I'm feeling kind of gothy, I'll pull out the one that's got bats on it or something like that.
That's batshit crazy.
Isn't it? No, there's no actual bat shit on it. Just bats.
How do you know?
Because they're not alive.
You don't know what happens when they're in the drawer alone.
That only happens with toys, not underwear.
Who says?
Toy Story.
Right. Maybe there's Underwear Story.
No, there's no underwear story. Disney has not made that.
No, it wouldn't be Disney.
Probably be DreamWorks.
I was thinking more the porn industry, but okay.
Okay. Ethical caregivers would encourage the little's personal growth and support their autonomy even when they're in the age play mindset. The goal is to foster an environment where littles feel cared for, but still, Rara's favorite E word, empowered to make their own decisions. And so, like, the caregiver could encourage the little to practice self-care by setting up a routine that includes personal time for things like hobbies, errands, socializing with friends outside of the dynamic. I don't know about you, Rara, but one of the things that I like the most about Daddy J's and my relationship is we can do stuff not together. We don't need to be up each other's butts all the time. I can go out with friends and do things without Daddy J.
That's crazy talk.
Exactly. That's one of the things I absolutely love the most about this relationship. I don't have somebody clinging to my butt the whole time. And I don't have to cling to his butt either, because that'd be stinky.
Tell him to wipe better.
Not where I was going with that. I was thinking more farts. Because man farts are almost as bad as dog farts.
I was going to say, dog farts are the worst.
Dog farts are, no, you know what's the worst? Baby farts.
No, those are the best because if they're loud, it makes the baby giggle. And then there's nothing better in this entire planet than baby giggles.
Yeah, but the smell.
No, because then if you sit there and you go, ooh, that stinks, that makes them laugh.
Infant breastfed baby farts.
No, you're wrong. Not breastfed. Trust me, breastfed poop and farts do not smell nearly as bad as formula poop and farts.
Doesn't matter. They're gross either way. This is why I don't have children.
See, but then they get the giggles when you sit there and go, oh, that stinks.
Not until they're toddlers.
No, they giggle before that.
Okay, see, this is why I don't have children. They're gross. Caregivers should guard against infantilization. While roleplay might involve calling someone baby outside of the agreed upon scenes, especially if you're in a relationship, they must always honor the little status as an autonomous adult. So let's explain infantilization. In CGLG, this refers to treating a consenting adult, little, as if they are truly a child, outside of the agreed upon scenes or boundaries in a way that disregards their autonomy, independence, and adult capabilities. While in little headspace, as the younger age, like a toddler or child or even teen, is consensual and structured within the dynamic. If you do non-consensual infantilization...
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, multiple times apparently. This happens when a caregiver is consistently or inappropriately assuming control over aspects of the adult little's life without permission, like finances, career decisions, friendships, all of that. I had an ex that told me that I couldn't be friends with this one person anymore and made me, quote, break up with him over the phone while he stood there and listened. That's fucking abusive. Turns out he was way more abusive than I thought, but that was before we were even married. So yay me for understanding that part. It could be when they talk down to them in everyday adult situations, baby talk, belittling language outside of the scene if they're not into that. Making decisions on their behalf without consultation under the assumption that they can't or shouldn't make adult choices. Or failing to recognize or respect a little's adult emotions, skills, and needs outside of their little headspace. Ethical caregiving would support the headspace when desired and consensual, but unethical infantilization dismisses without consent.
I'm so glad you have to keep saying that word and not me.
Infantilization?
Yeah, it's an SAT word.
Yes. Yes, it is. All right. Different ways to spot infantilization would be if the caregiver is using Ageplay behaviors without consent, if they're making life decisions without negotiation, if they disregard the little's adult identity in everyday interactions, and if they frame non-consensual control as for your own good. All of those are no bueno. Run away. Okay, let's talk about expanding control without consent and negotiating specific control areas. So expanding control without consent occurs when the caregiver takes on more control than originally agreed upon, like making decisions about the little's personal life, like we've talked about, or using their authority to dictate aspects that were not negotiated. For example, caregiver unilaterally decides to take control of the little's financial decisions, saying, "You're not responsible enough to handle your own money, so I will make all the decisions for you." Nope. I don't know about you, but I'm not letting any man handle my money. It's mine. Nobody's going to do that. Mine. I earned it. I get it. I pay for my shit. I am a goddamn adult. I can do that. Now, if I want to at some point say I'm tired of making all these financial decisions, you can do it. Like if I'm married to an accountant, hell yeah. But I'm not. Like he's pretty decent with money, but I still have trauma from the last husband that tried to control my money. So there's no way in fucking hell. And we've discussed this and I've said no way in fucking hell. And he's like, all right, cool. We will do it this way. All right, cool. Great idea. Let's do it this way. And this has worked for us for the entire time we've been married. My parents, on the other hand, have a shared bank account, but my mother was an accountant, so my dad never had to worry about any of it. My mom took care of all of it, the financial stuff. She still does. Okay, so negotiating specific control areas would be the caregivers seek explicit consent and discuss boundaries when it comes to power exchange. They establish clear limits and respect the little's autonomy in areas outside of the agreed upon caregiving scope, like introducing more control into the dynamic. The caregiver sits down with a little and says, "Would you be comfortable if I helped you organize your finances, or would that be crossing a boundary for you?" Really simple question. Little's like, "I would prefer that you didn't touch that." Or the little says, "Yeah, sure. You know what? You're pretty good with money. Why not? Let's do it." Very different ways of looking at that. All right. So another one is coercive or performative caregiving versus authentic, consistent caregiving. So the non-ethical is the coercive or performative, when a caregiver's actions are more about showing off or fulfilling their own needs for attention or control.
Voldemort.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I read that and that's all I could think of. I mean, we had an Ageplay relationship. He was daddy. I was baby girl. And this is, I mean, like he is the prime example of
showing
what
off
not to do. And well, he would, because so for an example I can give is he and I had agreed, we had a discussion, we negotiated that when he and I did a scene and then had my aftercare afterward with him, that the aftercare was just him and me, and my metamor was not to be involved in it, because there had been a previous example where he and I were involved with the foursome on one bed, and my metamor was on the bed next to us fucking somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And when everybody was done and I was cuddled up with him, the metamor leaned over and rested her head on his chest and then started like caressing him and hugging him and kissing him. And I was really upset by this because I'm like, this is my time. Why aren't you hugging and kissing? I don't know the person you just fucked.
Right.
So he and I sat down and negotiated, and we agreed that it would be my aftercare specifically could be just me. And he threw a party. And because unlike my metamor, I'm very comfortable with public scenes and showing off. The beginning of the party, somebody came in who sold sex toys. Right. And one of the sex toys they were selling, people were asking how it would work. And I don't remember if I volunteered or voluntold to be the body it was tested on to try it. And the scene became me and a bunch of other women, where the women were sucking on my tits and using the toy on me and giving me oral sex and whatever. while everybody else watched me have orgasms. So when it was over, I was cuddled up on the sofa with him as part of my aftercare.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I didn't know who did it, but I found out later he called her over to sit on the other side of him so he could cuddle with her too, because he was trying to, knowing him, though he never said this, because he was trying to show off to everybody, look, I have two
multiples.
women.
Yeah.
And it was the next, I didn't throw a hissy fit. I just very calmly sat up and go, I don't mean to upset anybody, but I was promised my aftercare could be just me.
Right. It's part of our negotiated agreement.
She stormed off. He was angry at me that I upset her. And after my quote unquote aftercare, he decided my aftercare was done. He then ignored me for the rest of the night and spent the entire night making it up to her. So the next day, I went back to his house and we talked about it. And he goes, I would make you apologize, but it wouldn't be sincere. And I looked at him and said, you're right, it wouldn't be sincere. But that was the coercion because he was my daddy at the time, my dom. And if he had, quote unquote, ordered me to apologize for my supposed rudeness, right? Even though at that point we were already starting to have a lot of cracks in our foundation.
I was going to say, let's break this down a little bit.
And I certainly was not about to apologize to the bitch. Because I hadn't done anything wrong. This is what had been negotiated and agreed upon.
Yeah, no, let's break this down. So he broke a negotiated boundary, first of all, in a horrible, horrible way, inviting the other person in deliberately instead of her breaking the boundary and him saying, hey, go away. This is, rah-rah time. He deliberately broke it. And then on top of that, manipulated you. And then on top of that,
tried to make it be that I was in the wrong.
What a fucking narcissist.
Hence, my not being with him anymore and his nickname of Voldemort.
What a fucking narcissist. Nothing is ever his fault. It's always your fault. That is some emotionally manipulative shit.
So talk about, performative caregiving. That whole aftercare scene was performative caregiving.
Yes, because he probably didn't want to do that in the first place.
He probably only wanted to do it because, again, one of the things that drove my metamor nuts is he loved showing me off.
Mm-hmm.
I was the one, at the time, I was a size 4. I was teeny, but I saw gargantuan boobs. I was still the same personality that I am now. So I was the life of the party. I was the one who would come in. Any party in his home, she would be there for. But any party at a dungeon or somebody else's house that we went to, he would take me. Because I was the extrovert and the party girl. And I don't mean that like partying, like drinking and stuff. I just mean I'm the person.
Socializing.
I'm the social one. And so that made her very, very jealous. And instead of dealing with that, things became my problem to deal with only.
Well, so also he had avoidance tendencies. Anything that didn't coincide with his happy place, he just didn't do. Talk about not adulting. I had to explain to somebody the other day that, look, you're a human being. Sometimes you have to do stuff you don't want to do. This is not just an adult thing. When littles talk about adulting, it's, oh, I had to do something responsible. I didn't want to do it, but I did it anyway. I got a prize for adulting. Like, we all know that state. We all know that state of mind. When I was talking to somebody the other day and they were like, well, then why do we have to do this? And I'm like, because you're a human. And sometimes being a human means you have to do shit you don't want to do.
Even at very young ages, I taught my kids that sometimes you got to do shit you don't want to do.
Pick up your toys. That's something we have to do as a kid. We were all taught that. Well, not this day and age, but as when you and I were kids, we were all taught pick up your toys. Mommy is not your maid. Mm-hmm. But
I've been known to say things to my kids when they were little, like when they would say no, I'm like, oh, that's so cute. You think you can say that.
Mm-hmm. You think you're in charge. Look, even as a dominant little, I don't pull that shit. I know when to push when to pull that and when to not pull that.
But yeah, I mean, this was absolutely not ethical, coercive, performative. It was, things were already going bad at that point, but that was the second strike. And then the third one was when the 42-year-old decided to get involved and have sex with an 18-year-old.
Ew.
So that was the third and final strike.
Technically, yeah, they're 18, but that's still gross.
She'd been 18 for a week.
Ew. Ew, what's wrong with her that she chose a 42-year-old?
Yeah. A 42-year-old who had protected sex with her because he met her. They weren't, according to her, I got this from her, not from him. They were just going out for lunch and the plan wasn't that they were going to have sex. Well, maybe her plan wasn't, but he somehow met. She didn't have any condoms in her house, I asked her. Because at the time, I also believe she was a virgin. She was an 18-year-old virgin. And he just happened to have a condom in his wallet. And I know he was not the kind of guy who normally kept a condom in his wallet. So he went out for lunch with her, intentionally put a condom in his wallet.
That seems coercive to me.
And then went out with me that night and had sex with me that night and failed to mention at any given point in time that he had had sex with the 18-year-old earlier that day.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, when I found out, that's when it all went to hell in a handbasket.
That is some serious unethical on every level.
Yep. So don't do what Voldemort did.
No, don't do anything that Voldemort did. You could do an entire Voldemort episode and just tell stories.
I met somebody at the Munch who was going to go to one of his parties. And I said to them, look, I will never tell you where you should or should not go.
But you should not go to that.
No, I don't do this. I'm never going to tell you where you should and shouldn't go. But before you make decisions to go places, you should have information. So you can make an informed decision, right? Because isn't that what consent is ultimately? Yep. Informed consent. So I laid it all down. And then they looked at me and said, yeah, I don't think I'm going to go. I said, that's probably a smart choice.
See, and I'm the opposite. I say, nope, don't do that. Don't go there. Let me tell you why. Don't go there. I highly recommend you don't fucking go there. I tell that to everybody now.
I just want to emphasize the whole idea of informed decisions.
I'm just a little overexcited and I give all the information. I say, haha, don't do that. Okay. One more thing I want to talk about is withholding care as punishment and versus using agreed upon correction methods. This one's pretty important because, as we said, using care as a punishment, like withholding affection, withholding the agreed upon treat, withholding comfort, especially if you need aftercare, this is a manipulation tactic and it violates the principle of unconditional care.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
What happens if the little is the one who is not ethical and they are trying to manipulate their caregiver? By asking for a hug, hoping that will get them out of their punishment or whatever trouble that they're in.
Either way, manipulation is not acceptable. I know I like to joke that I manipulate daddy into that. Well, and that's the exact scenario that I do.
Here's my thoughts. We all manipulate each other, right? When we go out and we put on certain outfits to look good, it is a form of manipulation. When we, smile at somebody, to do something, right? The problem is manipulation. You can do it for good or you can do it for evil. You can manipulate somebody for good. I, for instance, will hand out compliments because I know it will make somebody feel good.
And then you get what you want.
That is not even sometimes just because I want them to feel good. That is a form of manipulation, but that is manipulation for good. Right? I think we need to have like a specific word for manipulation that is specific for just when it's done evilly. Is that even a word? Evilly?
Well, because the word manipulation itself just has that connotation of bad.
Right.
So we need a word that means good manipulation. PR. It's public relations.
I mean, right, that's really what it is, which, by the way, was my major in college. So, yeah.
Well, that's why you're so good at being good cop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just lost all my fucks, so I'm just permanent bad cop now.
Yeah, no, I was a journalism PR major.
All right. So neglecting your emotional needs is part of that manipulation. Ignoring the needs of the little, especially when they're in the little state of mind. This is a horrible thing to do to anybody, but especially especially a little. This is like you can get abandonment, confusion. You have major distrust. This can cause massive amounts of trauma. If the caregiver doesn't offer emotional support during a time of stress or distress because they believe it's not part of the role play or they should handle it themselves, that's horrible. You can't do that to somebody, no matter little or not, but especially little, especially in the little headspace. Holy shit. I can't imagine anything being worse than that. But, well, on the other hand of this, you can actually meet their emotional needs, but do it like in kind of a responsive way. So if you're in tune with your little's emotional well-being, if you're prioritizing emotional care, especially during like the vulnerable times, you just have to check in with the comfort level. So like when the little is feeling anxious or overwhelmed, like when I come home from work, I'm extremely overwhelmed and just kind of like, can't do shit, can't think, can't do anything. I'm emotionally drained. The caregiver can offer comfort, like cuddling or soothing conversation, or if the little doesn't want that, they can see it, you can offer something else. You can say, do you need some alone time or do you need a hug? And the little can say, express whatever they need at the time. When I come home from work and I'm in that state, I don't necessarily want a hug. I want to be left the fuck alone so I can decompress. And I'm going to be honest, sometimes Daddy J gets it and sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he just puts me in that hug and I have to endure the hug before I can get away and go de-stress. And I endure it because I love him. And it makes him feel like he's taking care of me, even though that's not necessarily what I need at that moment. I give it a few seconds. I'm like, okay, I need to go sit. I need to go veg out for a minute or listen to my book or do something, but I need to do it alone. And then he's like, all right, let me know if you need anything. Do you need water before I go? No, I'm good. I just need to sit and not think. He goes, all right, you know where to find me if you need anything. That's it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I just need you to go away. Usually because if I don't feel well or I'm stressed, I'm in a total bitch mood. And if you're going to be in my circle, you will be the recipient of that bitch mode.
If you're in my way, you're going to get hurt.
If you weren't the one who caused it.
Right.
But if you're dumb enough to not get out of my way, all hands straight. That's why I talked about wanting to kerfuffle and nobody would kerfuffle with me.
I'm so sorry. I know that feeling. I tried to kerfuffle and nobody kerfuffled with me and it was very upsetting.
No, they all agreed with me, the bastards.
How dare they?
Nerve.
God. Okay, so just addressing the power imbalance itself of the little dynamic. Power is inherently part of the CGL little dynamic thing. Ethical management of that power is absolutely critical. You need to avoid exploitation. See, all of these words, they're so hard. I don't know why I put them in here. I don't know why I put them in here. They're too hard to say. I mean, they look like they were easy words. And I'm like, okay, when I'm writing.
Because they're easy to read.
Yes.
We know them from reading.
They're hard.
There's a lot of things, and then the tongue gets in the way.
Especially if you're going into little headspace while you're doing a little episode, it gets kind of difficult. I've had to restrain myself in this episode.
No, you shouldn't have to. You have carte blanche to little out when talking about littles.
I know, but this is like more serious stuff, so I felt I needed to be an adult.
You can't be a serious little?
No.
Oh.
Have you met me?
Yes. Do you know?
Have you met my little?
Oh, I was just talking to somebody today. Do you realize this summer we'll have been friends for 9 years?
Wait, you and me?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, one more thing on Voldemort and the whole performance thing.
Yeah.
We met at one of his parties.
Right. That's how come I know when we met, because I only was living here and with him June and July and part of August of 2016. And then he and I broke up.
So we met in June, I believe.
Either June or July of 2016.
I want to say it was June. I remember it being.
I can do with that.
Because that was when my friend came to visit.
Yeah.
Okay. So talk about performative. When Rara and I decided that we were going to be friends, because I volunteered to braid her hair and we talked about tiaras.
Important stuff.
And Harry Potter. Like instant bonding right there. He was just like, oh, good. She made a little friend. And basically, me and Rara littled out the rest of the night, completely ignoring the movie, so he didn't have to deal with her.
Nope. He was with my metamor, who we will forevermore be known as bitch.
Correct. But actually, that reminds me, my next Littles episode is, I've decided it's going to be on little peer relationships.
Ooh.
Which is you and me.
Oh, yeah.
So you and me, our relationship has inspired an episode, Rara.
We should have it come out for our anniversary, our friend-iversary.
But we don't know when that is.
June.
End of June?
Okay, anytime. We have 4 weeks in June to pick from.
We'll do a
week.
June, end of June-ish. This is our friendiversary celebrating
Do we get to sing happy anniversary?
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. We already did.
Okay, good. We'll do it again.
Okay.
That was rehearsal.
Good. Jesus. This is why we're friends. We little out and then we can maturely be adult. Oh my God. So Rara, I'm picturing you and me completely bonkers littling out, little middle, whatever, but talking about like menopause.
Oh my God.
A mature conversation, but as littles?
Oh my God.
That's just the ultimate.
Very whiny.
Well, hello, have you met us? When are we not whining about that?
Menopause is going to be whiny. I want to know. See, I think it's called menopause because when you're in it, you want to pause all men. Trust me. I don't want them touching me because I'm already dealing with hot flashes. I don't need them to make it hotter. I just want them to not annoy me. That's why it's menopause, because you're pausing the men.
Well, do you know why it's called menstruation?
Yeah. I'm afraid to ask.
Because you become more of a man. You become bitchy and angry and whiny and a big old baby about anything because you become more of a man, because during menstruation, your testosterone level rises and your estrogen level goes down. So therefore...
Is that why we're homicidal during that time period?
Yes!
Oh, that makes so much more sense.
Why do you think we become so much more emotional when we're in menstruation?
Oh, yeah.
We are closer to being men at that point because of all the testosterone.
Now that we've just totally angered one demographic, but made our non-binary and our female demographics much, much happier.
Well, anybody who's AFAB is just going to be like, oh, got it. And everybody else is going to be like, what the fuck are you saying exactly? We're saying that you're emotional little bitches. That's what we said. Okay, there. I feel better now.
I know. Thank you.
I'm not even on menstruation or well, I am perimenopausal, so that's why I'm angry.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, except for the 1 week that you actually have your period, you're always premenstrual.
Pre or post. So you only have 1 week out of the month where you're normal.
But think about it. The week after, it's not that you're post. You're back to being pre again.
Well, it's the hormonal levels and everything. But anyway, that was not what this episode was about. So let's get a little recap before we've gone completely off the fucking rails.
Okay,
again.
This is us. Unless they're a first-time listener, our regular listeners know this is just normal
Correct.
with us.
And if you are a first-time listener,
this is normal for us. So just come back for more fun.
We do this all the time. All right, recap. Don't be a dick.
That's just like the ultimate advice.
Yeah, that's like the number one rule. Don't be a fucking dick.
Don't be just a dick whether you're fucking or not. Not every dick is fucking. So just don't be a dick.
Exactly.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. If you enjoyed what you heard, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a minute of our fun and educational content. New episodes drop every Friday.
If you love what we do and want to help us keep creating, support us on Patreon at patreon.com/pinkkinkpodcast. You can also support our affiliates to benefit small businesses and us at the same time.
No extra cash? No problem. You can still help by spreading the word about your favorite kinky podcast. Share us with your friends, and don't forget to rate and review us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. Those 5-star reviews mean the world to us. And those 5-star reviews go a long way in boosting our podcasts through the algorithm and reaching more listeners.
Sign up for our Pink Kink Institute classes. Shop at our Etsy shop, Pink Kink Boutique. Stay connected with us on social media. You'll find all the links on our link tree posted in the show notes.
Your support means the world to us. So until next time, stay pink
and level up your kink knowledge.